the impact of cleaning can take a card from an 8 to a 10.
Dude, I bought a Bobby Witt Jr. 2020 First Bowman Auto Atomic number to 100. I bought it as an 8.5, Beckett 8.5.
Beckett 8.5.
And the subgrades were, I think, a 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, and the surface was an 8.5 or an 8, I think. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
So I cracked it and I cleaned it, and there was like scuffs on it, and I didn't use any.
Yeah, there's some. I
didn't use anything. I literally just used the cloth and like my finger and like my breath, and I cleaned off that scuff, and I was like, oh wow, it's gone. Resubmitted it, PSA 1010.
Welcome to Jersey Wild, where the cards got clout. Big hits, big flips, that's what we all about. Talking high value, yeah, we cashing in.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Game Plan. Pratik and I are here for episode 4. Today we're going to talk about the West Coast Card Show that just happened this weekend in Ontario, California. We're going to talk a little bit about grading, some questions that you guys asked online, and then who we're buying before the baseball season. Those are kind of the main topics for today. So, West Coast Card Show, what do you think?
Amazing. I think the turnout really surprised me. I mean, you had mentioned how you anticipated a big turnout. There were, I don't even know how many tables, probably 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like that.
It felt like 1,000. The turnout was amazing. The energy was great. I know you're going to talk about this, but we were busy. I mean, it was a blur.
Yeah.
It was a blur, right?
Well, it was a 4-day show.
4-day show, but you couldn't tell. We'd look up every time and we were shocked at what time it was.
Yeah, and like we barely had time to eat. Like it was crazy. So we set up, or it started Thursday night.
That's right.
And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday were the main days. But we went in there Thursday night to submit the PSA on site. And it was stupid packed for a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then even that following day, that Friday, which is Valentine's Day, we talked about it before the day, and I said there probably isn't going to be a whole lot of people there because of Valentine's Day, and I was very wrong.
Yeah.
Like it was packed.
It was packed.
But yeah, the show in general, you know, the West Coast Card Show put on an amazing show, right?
Yeah,
and
thank you.
They killed it. I mean, they did it last year. I thought last year was amazing, and this year was just stupid.
Was it in Ontario last year too?
No, last year was in Burbank.
Okay.
And that show was great. Don't get me wrong, but this show was crazy.
Another level.
I would say because we set up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That's right.
There wasn't a second that we weren't dealing with somebody. There wasn't a second we had time to breathe, time to eat, go to the bathroom.
Right.
There were lines literally wrapped around our table the entire show, people selling to us.
Yeah.
Or buying from us.
At one point, you actually directed the line.
Yeah, I literally said, all right, guys,
hey guys,
let's
line it up.
Yeah.
And I thought we were at retail hunting. I was like, oh my God, there's a line again.
No, seriously.
Right?
And it was cool to see because like we both met a lot of people that we've talked to on social media or like have reached out to me on social media, and everything is just Instagram names, right? Like, you're Brian's Cards. It's nice to meet you, Brian. Or you're 124 SoCal collector. And it's like, oh, I actually know who you are now. So it was good to meet like actual people that we've talked to for years. We actually got to meet them at the show.
Yeah. And
so that was really
people.
Cool. Really good people.
Really nice. There wasn't any.
I was going to say the one thing that I've always noticed that not every show, but most shows, there's always 1 to 2 people that kind of just rub you the wrong way.
Sure.
It's like, oh, they kind of negotiated in a very disrespectful way or whatever it was.
Right.
None of that.
None of that. All 3 days.
The kids were respectful. The adults were respectful. Like it was a great show.
You know, you had an amazing idea, and I loved it. I wanted to do more of it. You call them the starter packs.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because I think that went over really well.
Yeah. So one thing that I did the night before the show that I don't know, I had the weird idea, and I was trying to organize what cards we're bringing to the show. So, and I have a bunch of these like $5, $10, $15 cards that aren't really showcase worthy. And I said, what about we do this? What if we put into a bag, we put about 5 to 6 cards, maybe autographs, relics, stuff like that of relevant players.
Good cards.
Really good cards, like good hits, top-loaded stuff, like stuff you actually might want to grade.
Yeah. Prism Jaden Daniels was a
there's a silver in there.
Right.
And then you put a couple of packs of like baseball, football cards in there, and then you put a Jersey Wild sticker on there, right? And I called those the Jersey Wild starter packs because there's so many kids out there that want to buy, sell, trade, and flip and, you know, make money doing this while collecting at the same time. And I said, this is a perfect way for kids to get into the hobby with a free pack that they get, you know, $15 to $50 worth of cards in there, not even including the pack that they could pull bigger cards in.
Whatever, right?
And then go start your investing journey or your flipping journey or whatever the heck you want to call it. Right. And, you know, moms loved it, dads loved it, kids loved it. They loved it. It was great.
It was a fantastic idea.
So we'll definitely be doing more of those because those are awesome.
And then you also had what I thought was kind of cool, and I know folks commented quite a bit on, was the name your price box.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that.
So we also had a box of all the cards that I didn't think I thought were a little too high priced to go into those starter packs. Maybe like $80 to $100 cards.
Yeah.
And we
graded too.
A bunch of PSA 10s, one-touched cards, sealed from Topps, redemption, stuff like that. but we had a box and it was a 2-row shoe box. And at the front of it, it literally said, name your price. Yes. So all the time people come up, they pick a couple cards out of there and like, how much for these? And I look at them like, name your price.
Name your price.
And let's say it comped to $50 and they're like, we take 20. I'm like, well, that's your price. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So like you name your price.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody at the show had that. So they're like, this is weird. Like one guy picked out $200 worth of cards and I was like, name your price. And he was like, 120. I was like, cool. That works for me. You go make your money. I'll go make mine. We're good.
We're good.
You know?
Now, to be fair, we did have a couple folks who said, $200 card, here's $10.
We did have,
which is okay.
I understand
that was
the hustle.
fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I said no.
Yeah, you said no.
Still
That's
good.
right. But it was cool.
Yeah, a lot of people did like the name your price, but a lot of people didn't like it because they're like, well, like, what's the price? And I'm like, well, name your price.
Yeah,
like, I'm trying to hook you up a little bit.
Right.
I'm not trying to charge you 80, 90%. I'm trying to give you like 70%.
That's right.
Right? So if you give me a fair offer, it's all yours.
Yeah, and I don't think you turned down a fair offer. I don't think there was one fair offer you turned down.
No, it was funny.
There were a couple that I was like, say no to, and you're like, nah, I'm good. Whatever.
Well, it was funny too because there were some sneaky big cards in there.
Yeah,
there were some PSA 10s that were like $300 to $400 in there, and they were like, how much is this? And I was like, $300, and they're like, really? I was like, it comps at 4, so I thought that was fair. Yeah. So definitely do more of the Jersey Wild starter packs and the name your price box because those were hot.
Those were just fun, and it was really fun. It allowed us to engage with the people in a very kind of non-confrontational way.
For sure.
It was just a nice starter talking thing. And one of the things we did do, we mandated, we said anyone that got a starter pack had to rip the wax.
Yeah. Rip the pack in front of us.
Got to rip it in front of us.
Yeah. And everybody did, and they loved it. I don't think I saw any big cards, but all the kids were ecstatic about it. They loved it.
And to your point, we saw a lot of moms there, which surprised me, and they loved it, right? They were
huge fans of it, yeah.
Very grateful kids, by the way.
Oh,
the kids
for sure.
Very thankful multiple times. Hey, thank you. And it was a really cool thing. In that same vein, the lines were just ridiculous, right? It was continuous. There were a lot of repackers we ran into.
Yeah, and you're going to see that out the big shows, right? That's where they hustle. I mean, this is what I heard. I don't know how true this is, but Thursday night at preview night, I heard that 4 repackers went into that show and spent over $1 million each in cash.
Wow.
4 repackers. So 4 individual guys spending over $1 million in cash each.
Just buying up inventory.
Probably buying it 95 to 100%.
So let me ask you about that. Let's say they bought it at 95, 100%, right? That's what you said. Is that good? Is that bad? Is that helpful? Does that hurt people? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it depends who it's good or who it's bad for.
Right.
Like the hobby or just the...
Well, let's take the general hobbyist.
Okay.
Right? The collector who's out there. Is it good for them?
I would say so. Like if I'm the general hobbyist and I go to a card show and I have, my case I'm carrying and I get stopped by a repacker and he says, hey, I'll take all of it at 95%. First off, that's probably the highest percentage I've ever been offered. And you're giving me cash on the spot, and we're agreeing on values to get that 95. Like I'm super happy.
Right. Okay. So I agree with you. I grew up in an era of the junk wax time where you'd be lucky to get 50% from a card shop, right? $100 card, I'll give you $40. You're like, what? Yeah. So I think it would incentivize me. It would inspire me to be like, cool, there's somebody actually paying value for these things. Now, let me ask you, if you are a card shop collector, like a business person.
Okay, so you're into the hobby as a business.
Yeah, now it's a business for you. And you could maybe argue that the repacker is your competition.
Oh, okay.
Right? So now you're competing for that same card because you want to sell it. And they're coming in at 100%. Thoughts on that?
So you bring that up because obviously that happened this weekend, right? So there was a certain repacker that we're actually really good friends with. Not because we do business with them, but they're just really good people.
They're great people.
And they were buying at 95 to 100%. More at 100
and
than
it went
95.
viral.
It went very viral.
Everybody.
I mean, the line to sell to them was 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And wrapped around the show. Yeah. Right?
Agreed.
So your question is it good or bad for the hobby that repackers are paying 100%?
Yeah.
I personally think it's an amazing thing. Okay. I really do. Now, I think it's an amazing thing as the seller to the repacker because I'm getting 100%.
Right.
Now, if you go deeper into the equation, you say, okay, well, the repackers are then charging $400 for a $30 card. That's a different story. But the question is it good for the hobby? I personally think it is. At the show we were at, there were a lot of vendors that were pissed off because this repacker was paying so strong and they couldn't buy because everybody was going to this repacker to sell.
Right.
In that sense, I don't feel bad for the vendors.
I don't either.
That can't buy because this repacker's paying too strong.
Right.
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 I think that vendor should find a different way to buy.
I agree.
Instead of just crumbling and getting pissed off and arguing that it's not fair, find a different alternative. You can buy, just buy it differently.
Differently. Because
we had no problem buying the whole show.
No, we had no problem.
And we were right next to that repacker.
Yeah, we were right next to him.
And no problem.
And no problem. And it was great to have people come just to see you.
Oh, it was funny.
Awesome,
this was the first show that anybody's ever come up and said, "Hey, can we take a picture?"
Yeah,
that was funny, and I loved it. It was cool
because
we're starting to get the Instagram going a little bit better, and people see our faces. And
right? We need
it was
support.
like, "Hey, can we take a picture?" I was like, "I'm not going to say no. Let's come on back. Let's take a picture." So that was really cool.
Yeah. Talking about the repackers, maybe this is a little bit off topic, but why are repackers paying that? What are they doing with the cards they buy?
Well, I mean, they're obviously putting them in repacks, right? And they're
for who?
For
like who do they kind of work with? Do they work with breakers? Do they work with tops?
Well, no, repackers.
Yeah.
There's two different types of repackers.
Okay.
There's a repacker who runs their own repack on Whatnot or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
Or there's repackers who go buy for streamers that do repacks.
I see.
Right? So most repackers that we met this weekend run their own repacks. They're their own business.
Okay,
right?
That's their business model.
Yeah, they can buy cards at 95, 100%, make the math work where they can sell those cards in repacks at a certain price per pack where the profit is guaranteed.
So for maybe some of the newer listeners and followers and people that are kind of seeing this, what is a repack exactly?
So a repack is something that I used to do when I streamed because I used to be a breaker. But basically, you basically have 100 packs, and it's usually about $300 to $500 a pack, and you're guaranteed in that pack one card that is valued anywhere from about $100 to maybe $5,000 being the ceiling. So there's a floor and a ceiling. So it's a gamble. So you're paying $300 to $400 to $500 for that pack, and you're either going to hit a $100 card up to a $5,000 card, somewhere in that range. So to the buyer, it's worth the gamble because like, you know what? At the end of the day, I still get a card, but I could maybe get the $5,000 card. Sure. If I get the $100 card, I'm not too pissed. Some people are really pissed, but some people not so much. So that's what a repack is.
Is that a normal range?
I would say so. From
like
what I've seen,
$5,000.
Yeah, usually the ceiling has to be in that holy cow range. So people are like, "Oh, I'm down. Like I'll risk it.
I'll risk it."
You know. Usually, I've seen a couple of repacks where it's like a $300 buy-in and the ceiling's like $600, and that's not like too appealing to me personally. So I don't think it's too appealing to the average collector.
Does anyone have something where they kind of reduce some of that risk and like? How do I say that? There's no guarantees when you rip in any kind of pack, wax. There's no guarantees. Mm-hmm. But does anyone do a repack where they say, "Hey, the floor is say it's a $500 pack," and they say, "Look, we're going to guarantee you that," without using the word guarantee, right? Yeah. We're going to guarantee that you at least make 500.
I haven't seen it yet.
Doesn't exist,
but I haven't personally seen it yet. Yeah. And I mean, it could be out there, but like, I feel like if it was out there, we'd all know about it.
We know about it, right?
Yeah, because I haven't seen it.
I think if someone could solve for that, I think we should take a stab at that.
Yeah.
I think that's something that would make it a lot of fun for the hobby because the people that come in want to win. And imagine you're brand new, because I'm going to talk to you about Jimmy. Our boy Jimmy. Big shout out to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right at the show.
If you guys don't follow us on Instagram, JerseyWild_, we just posted a video on Jimmy who made his first investment, but we'll talk about that.
But that's just it, right? There's a lot of first timers.
Oh yeah.
That come to these shows and they would tell us, "Hey, it's my first time at a show, blah, blah, blah." And, one of the first questions they ask is, "What wax should I buy?"
Yeah. What box should I open?
What box should I open?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so, and if you turn them on to a $500 Bowman box, and they pull a, Max Muncy auto. Yeah. And they're like, "Who is this guy?" I'm not talking about Dodgers Max Muncy.
The Oakland
A's one, right? They're like, "Okay." And they get turned off. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised there isn't something that kind of encourages the win. Because when we were talking about the repackers, I think it's a win for the hobby. Why? Because if you always are negotiating pricing down.
Yeah.
Right? If the comp says 100, I'll give you 90. Then that 90 becomes 80. Then that becomes 7. When did these card prices go up? What's upward momentum? There's no upward momentum outside of their 50-50 or performance, right?
Yeah.
Something of that nature.
And I love what Repackers are doing with their
Right.
buying, right? Like, and I say that very specifically. I love what Repackers are doing with their buying,
Mhm.
right?
With their
There's some Repackers that I don't personally
Listen.
respect based on, you know, their floor, their ceiling, their
That's
price per
right. They're
pack.
selling.
And that's not my problem.
That's not,
right?
yeah, that's not.
But for what they're doing in the buying space,
I like it.
I'm a big fan of it. Like, as a vendor, think about it. Put yourself in a vendor's shoes. You're set up your table. You have so much inventory.
Yes.
And you get haggled every single minute. You know, will you take 80%? Will you take 85%? You're just like, I'm into it for 80, 85. I
Yeah,
can't.
right. You can't.
And you have a repacker come up to you and say, hey, I'll take everything at 100%.
Why?
I mean, what bone in your body is upset?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to be excited with that.
I think it's great for the hobby.
I do too.
Because it's upward momentum on pricing. It's driving pricing up, which I don't mind.
Yeah, like we had a repacker come up from Florida, remember? There's 2 repackers, remember? They were together.
Oh, yes.
Good guys, really
good
good.
guys.
They're funny.
Yeah, good guys.
And I mean, I had all my cards comped out. We agreed on values like 14,500.
Yeah,
they
something
gave me
like that.
14.
Yeah, done.
Like, you're not going to get that other deal from, you know, I take that back. You'll get that kind of deal from, I would say, 2 different people, repackers and true collectors.
True collectors.
So I actively sell to true collectors very often. Right.
You do.
And true collectors like to pay whatever they want to pay because they want the card.
They want the card.
Right. So I would say repackers and true collectors are the best for the industry for buying.
Gotcha.
Right. I'd just say that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then what was I going to say after that? The repackers, I had something else. No, I think it's great. I think buying at that 100% really, you know, you make those relationships with those repackers.
That's
and
right.
you're just like, hey, if I can buy this lot at 70% or 80%, whatever it is, and I can call my repacker and he's gonna pay me 100, like, why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
Agreed. Do you think, I know the answer to this, so but we haven't figured all the details out. How often do you think we're going to be at shows now moving forward?
So moving forward, we talked about this earlier,
Yeah.
and this is kind of a big thing, but our game plans to be somewhere every weekend.
That's right.
Right. So like,
That's
whether that's set up as a vendor or walking the show or, you know, whatever it is, every weekend we'd like to be somewhere different.
Agreed.
So I know this weekend I'm gone,
Yes.
my bachelor party trip.
Yeah, a little bit.
But next weekend there's a show in Vegas. We'll be at that. And then the next weekend, I think there's a show in Washington. So we'll be at that.
Right.
So every single weekend we want to be at a different show because buying online is great. It's awesome. But when you're buying online, especially raw cards, it's hard to tell the value or it's hard to tell the condition.
Quality, yeah.
Right. So buying in person at shows is perfect. So every weekend, game plan to be at a different show. Every weekend.
Love it. I think that's a great goal for us. You know, one of the reasons you and I got into this was that the community and the social interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're sitting behind a screen and interacting,
Yeah.
it's not as fun as being engaged
Well, it's
with
not
someone.
as personal.
Right. It's not personal, right?
Yeah.
And it does. It helps with like understanding the card you're getting, the quality.
Mm-hmm.
And being at shows has its perks. You know, one of the things I think we got to take advantage of was PSA and Beckett were both there
Oh, yeah.
on site.
Dude, that's huge.
Yeah. Talk about that.
So I meet so many people who hit me up on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is, and they say, you know, Josh, I'm too scared to ship my cards.
Yes.
I live in New York. I don't want to ship my cards to PSA in Orange County. Like, I'm not doing that. That's too risky. Like, these are big cards. I'm not doing it. So the benefit of these bigger shows, whether it's the National, Dallas, even Ontario, the West Coast card show.
West Coast show was great.
You know, having on-site grading is huge. Like, we walked in Thursday night.
That's right.
We submitted to PSA and Beckett Thursday night, and we picked up our cards Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we paid a premium. So of course,
but it wasn't, if you take in your time, your shipping costs, your insurance,
you know, that's not bad. Yeah.
it's really not that bad. So we paid $125 a card to
That's
get
right.
graded at Beckett. And if we were to do this normal service, which I think is about $50 a card, we would have gotten charged insurance, shipping, and it would have a wait time of a few weeks. So
Dude,
take that in consideration. $125 ain't bad.
The time value of money.
Absolutely.
The time.
Yeah.
Because in 3 weeks, that card is no longer desirable.
Yeah, the comp could change.
The comp
whatever it
could
is.
change, right?
And those cards we got from Beckett, we sold 4 of them literally that Saturday.
Yeah, you did.
You know,
Yeah,
so it's
you're
like
right.
that's the benefit with big shows is the on-site grading.
You know, I didn't think about that. You brought up something. The idea of being scared to ship it across country
Dude.
because of, we're all afraid of theft, right? Ultimately, that's what it is, right? Theft. And that's a real thing. right? And this insurance, sure, you may get compensated back, but the card is gone.
Did I ever tell you about the story? I got a card stolen
No.
from FedEx.
From
Yeah, calling you out, FedEx.
Yeah,
right?
FedEx.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So
Right? What happened there?
I went to a show, bought this is like right after COVID. I bought a Joe Burrow 2020 Select RPA orange Pulsar to like 15 or something.
I can't even say all that.
Right,
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, that's
PSA 9.
It's like a coffee order. Yeah.
PSA 9.
Right.
I cracked it, sent it to Beckett, and it came back at 9510 because I could see the order online. And it's on its way to my house.
Being shipped.
And it says out for delivery. And I go out and I had to go run an errand or whatever. And I get back and it's on my front door. And I'm like, okay, cool. I open it up and it's light, very light. And I open it up. There's literally the paperwork and peanuts and no cards, no card. So, and I didn't put insurance on the package because I couldn't imagine that happening. So I got compensated like the $80 or whatever it was. So, and at the time that was like a $4,000 to $5,000 card at the time.
Wow.
So that's why
that's a lesson learned, an expensive lesson learned.
And I don't disagree with the people that say, hey, I don't want to ship my card to California. I don't want to ship to Texas, whatever it is. I don't blame them. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real thing. And I think we see more and more of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. There's some shady folks in the hobby and they're just trying to take advantage. I would say they're absolutely the minority.
Yeah.
But they exist.
Well, yeah.
And you got to be careful, right? Dealing with people online. You've got shady folks. I'm sure you got stories about people online and having to interact with them. And
yeah, I mean, I've been scammed on Facebook.
Yeah,
right? I definitely have. Like I paid goods and services, which is good, but I don't get my money back for like 6 to 8 weeks because of PayPal, you know?
Right. That takes a minute.
Let's go back for a second. Let's talk about, we talked about on-site grading at shows.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Another thing that a lot of people were talking about, and it was funny to see the switch in lines, and I'll get on that here in a sec, but PSA just changed their centering scale. They went from 60-40 to 55-45. And when I say switching lines, I was one of the people that did this. I had a stack of PSA cards that I was going to send to PSA, and I had a stack of Beckett cards to send to Beckett. And I just recently found out about the grading switch with the centering, and I took out some of the cards from that PSA submission, and I gave them to Beckett, actually.
So you switched.
And I switched them out because I know that that's not 55-45, that's 60-40. And I'm not going to get a PSA 9 just because it's 60-40 and they changed the rules or the whatever it is a couple days ago.
Right.
So does that, I mean, I kind of answered my own question, but for you, does that change where you grade cards based on PSA changing their grading standards by 5?
I think it does short term because it's a change, right? And everyone responds to changes differently. So initially there's this impact or shock value. And I think what it does is it drives more folks to, we'll just say, other grading companies, right? Most likely Beckett, but others as well. Longer term, I think it's good for the hobby. And here's why. And I may be in the minority.
I'm excited for this one.
I've always felt the grading process has been very subjective. And it's very commonplace in our we talked to how many people that said, "Oh, I'm gonna crack it and resubmit it."
Yeah,
it's a thing. That's like a slogan. It's a phrase. It's
normal.
It's normal behavior.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now let's say you crack. You submit to PSA and it comes back. I think more people will start submitting to Beckett. I think the subgrades in Beckett are going to matter more. But at the end of the day, the market always speaks, right? You and I talk about this all the time. We all will say, why does PSA have no disrespect, but the slabs are ugly. I mean, I think they're, it looks like something DOS did.
Okay. So
back in the 80s.
I think that's where you're in the minority.
Yeah. I think I am in the minority.
Because I love PSA slabs.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like this looks like something I saw in the 80s that I did on my computer.
Yeah.
Right?
Your typewriter.
My typewriter. Yeah. Thank you. Typewriter. Right. But they are the gold standard.
They are. So let me tell you something crazy, right? So you're talking about being subjective, which I completely agree, and I think a lot of our listeners would agree with that.
Agree with that, right?
So I have an Ellie De La Cruz Orange Sapphire auto out of Topps Chrome. I sent that card to PSA 3 times. Every single time, and this is before they changed the centering.
Okay.
Every single time, it came back PSA 9 all 3 times because of centering. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'm done with PSA. I'm going to go to Beckett with it. Send it to Beckett at the show, and it comes back a Beckett 9.5 with the subgrades 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5. And a 9.5's on centering. So what did I do? I sent it to PSA at the show, okay? And it came back a PSA 10.
Okay, let's be clear what you sent back. You sent back the Beckett slab the slab. You didn't crack
card in the slab to PSA.
Okay, so very key.
And they looked at it and they say, hey, Beckett looks at it. And it's a 9.5 across the board, including centering. Let's give it a PSA 10.
So they took, whoever the individual was, saw the 9.5 across the 4 subgrades and said, I don't know what they did, but then they gave it the 10. Interesting.
When it was a 9 beforehand, 3 different times because of centering. So here's a little tip.
Okay.
Yes, and this is one of the secrets that I have.
Okay.
If you send a card to PSA and it gets a 9, okay, you send it once, you send it twice, you send it 20 times, who cares? You send a card to PSA, it comes back a 9. And then you try to send it to Beckett. If you send it to Beckett and it gets a 9.5 or better, and it's a true gem or a true gem plus, which means all 9.5s or a 9.5, a couple 9.5s and a 10, most of the time, if you send that slab to PSA for $40, most of the time they'll give you a 10 if it's a true gem or a true gem plus. So
interesting.
It's like the long way to get a PSA 10 when it's originally a 9.
So, okay, let's talk about why go through all that trouble?
Okay, great. That's a great question.
That sounds like a lot of work.
I'm crazy. That's number one.
you have some time.
I'm a snob and I don't like PSA 9s, but the real answer comes to let's use what's a card that has a big multiplier on a PSA 10? Let's just use the Ellie, for example.
Okay.
Right? So the Ellie is $2,500 raw.
Okay.
And about $5K in a PSA 10. Okay. I want that $5K. I want that $5,000 for the PSA 10. And if that means that I need to send it to PSA once, Beckett once, and then back to PSA, I mean, I'll spend that. What is it? 40, 25, 25. That's $90. I'll spend that $90 to go around the circle of life and get to that PSA 10. I'm cool with that. Like, it might take a little bit of time.
So it's financial.
Well, that card specifically was financial because I'm trying to flip that card. I'm not an LA collector. I'm trying to flip it. Right. And I have a better chance flipping it in a PSA 10 than I do in a PSA 9 and or a Beckett 9.5.
So with these changes occurring and people may be saying, well, I'm going to go to Beckett now, right? And Josh said, this is an idea. Let me try one. Let me just try one myself. Does that increase the values of Beckett graded cards now? Or is it still going to be, nope, I'm just going to use them to go right back to PSA?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question.
Right? I don't know.
I don't know if it increases the value of Beckett grades.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a really good question. You stumped me on that one. That's a really good question.
Right? Because let's be honest. If people are like, oh, dude, this isn't going to center, I'm not even going to waste my time.
Yeah. Cool.
Let me send it to Beckett. Maybe if I get these 9.5, 9.5s, I could maybe resubmit then.
Yeah, you can go back to PSA with it. Yeah.
And
yeah.
So let me ask, what's the difference in prices? Let's say the Ellie's a PSA 10. You said 5K?
5K.
What if it's a 9.5 Beckett?
Usually about $400 to $4,200.
Oh, so it's a good number. That's $700-800, maybe $1,000.
Because PSA 10s are the standard.
So why is PSA the standard?
The hobby just likes PSA.
The market
does. And like
the collectors, right? We drive it. If the collectors decided to value the Beckett subgrades and those things and pay more for those in comps, right?
Yeah.
Then that would become the standard. So the market is, because we hear this a lot. We hear a lot of people saying, oh, it's so subjective. This was such a beautiful card. It's perfect. It should have gemmed. The guy was having a bad day. The guy or gal was having a bad day.
Yeah, people say that all the time.
Right? They say that to us all the time. Is there any technology that could help kind of smooth out the inconsistencies? And would that be good for the hobby?
So it's always been a talk of AI coming into grading, right? Because tag grading, I think it was, or is, they do AI grading.
I see. So it's like a compute, like they scan it.
And they basically say if it's a 10, 9, whatever.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on whether AI is good or bad for the hobby, and I'm still kind of on that fence.
Still too soon.
It's way too soon, but at the same time, I think having grading be subjective might be a benefit in some circumstances. I don't think AI grading, having it be precise, is the best for the hobby?
Well, so let me clarify. I wouldn't say precise. What I would do is I would say, let's talk corners or edges or things like that. I would put in like within 5%. I'd tell the AI there's a percent of error that I'm willing to accept. So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but it's like 60-40.
Yeah.
You would put in, okay, centering would be 55-45, whatever. And so you would tell the AI, it doesn't have to be pristine unless it's black label.
Yeah.
Right. Which I'd like to understand a little better in a second.
Yeah.
But I feel almost like that would smooth things out. But I do believe the collectors would still complain.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I still think,
and that's why I don't think it's become a thing. It's just like it's not going to do a whole lot,
right?
You know, like collectors will still complain.
They'll complain. So how does one get a black label? Because that's dope.
Lots of prayer, lots of sage.
Oh, sage. Okay, yeah, that's it. Got it.
And a nice tip to the grader. No,
okay, yeah.
Just kidding. How does one get a black label? So I've gotten one black label,
okay,
and I've probably submitted 1,000 cards at Beckett in my life.
Yeah,
very hard. And I know that a lot of Pokemon and One Piece cards get black labels because the way they're printed, I guess they're printed perfectly. I know a lot of Topps Now cards from baseball, football, whatever side, those get a lot of black labels because of the way they're printed.
Interesting.
There's no rhyme or reason. It just has to be a clean, perfect card. My question to you that you just kind of made me think of is if these Topps Now cards are getting black labels, if these Pokemon and these, TCG or One Piece cards are getting black labels, why aren't more, let's just use Topps cards getting more black labels? If Topps Now, the product, the line, the product.
Yeah, that digital on-demand order. Yeah.
Why do those get so many black labels, but normal Topps Chrome or Topps paper cards don't get black labels? You kind of see what I'm saying there? Like, it's the same company producing the cards.
I have an answer. Although the same company is producing the cards, we don't know the manufacturing process. And when you're printing flagship or a major product line, Optic, Prism for Panini and, Bowman and Topps Chrome for Topps, when you're building that for the masses. Yeah, so you're manufacturing for the masses. On demand is exactly that. On demand. If only 700 people want the card, you're only printing 700. You can't go to your manufacturer and say, hey, I know I just had you print 1 million of this thing or 200,000 of this thing. Can you just print 700 for me? So I think they've got different manufacturers. And therefore, the manufacturer that only has to print 700 to 1,000 or even what? The Otani's did the most on demand, right? It was like 500,000.
Right.
But even that is now being done by under greater supervision, oversight. And therefore, the printing is just better because it's smaller scale. It's like a custom printing versus general mass printing.
It's a really good point. Yeah. And that could be super true.
Could be true.
We will never know.
We don't know. And let's be honest, the hobby can't have every card come out be a 10 because that would also.
Correct. Yeah. Grading would be pointless.
Right.
So while we're talking about quality of cards and, Beckett 10s, Beckett black labels, whatever it is, we ran into a lot of people at the show, the West Coast Card Show, saying that they don't prep their cards before grading. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah. I overheard you talking about that. And some of them, And what were the reasons they wouldn't do that?
Well, it's not that they wouldn't do that. Okay. It's that they didn't know that they had to do that. So a lot of people, when they submit their cards, like newer collectors,
new to the hobby,
they seem to think that, and this is, I understand why, but they seem to think that if they open a box, they pull a card, and if they put it into a sleeve and a top loader right away, that it's ready for grading. Right? That's what a lot of people think.
Pack fresh, right?
Pack pack fresh, whatever it is.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that you actually have to prep the card. You have to clean it off because there's dust, there's hair, whatever there is.
Manufacturing process.
Right. Like wipe the edges so they're not so like, that's the word, frayed almost.
Yeah, frayed and fuzzy,
Like there's a lot of things. You're not altering the card, but you're just cleaning it and getting the dust off.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people aren't doing that. So what I recommend, and I have a person that does this for me as well, find somebody within the hobby, whether it's, I can recommend some great people. High-end Case Break, Sean, he's in Orange County, Mr. Minty, the Slab Doctor, whoever they are.
Right.
There's a lot of really good guys out there that can clean your cards for you for a couple bucks a card, but just doing that adds so much value because now, instead of being on the fence of a 9 or a 10, it's almost like a guaranteed 10. So like before when I was submitting cards, I I didn't prep them.
You didn't.
Nobody did.
Oh, no one.
I would just submit the cards to PSA, pull it out of pack sleeve card saver straight to PSA, and I would get 8s and 9s. I'm like, these cards look perfect. The day I started actually prepping them or actually paying somebody to prep them, my gem rate's above 90%. Right. So that's a quick thing I wanted to say because it was something we talked about.
Yeah, I overheard it.
Where people were just like, oh, what do you mean prep my card before grading? I just pulled it and sent it off. And I go, no wonder it's a 7. Right. So I wish I would have gotten that guy's info because I would have loved to see if he cracked it, cleaned it, and resubmitted it and see what happened.
Yeah, what happened?
I wouldn't be shocked if it was a 10. It looked good to me.
Really? So the impact of cleaning can take a card from an 8 to a 10?
Dude, I bought a Bobby Witt Jr. 2020 First Bowman Auto Atomic number to 100. I bought it as an 8.5, Beckett 8.5.
Beckett 8.5.
And the subgrades were, I think, 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, and the surface was an 8.5 or an 8, I think. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
So I cracked it and I cleaned it, and there was like scuffs on it, and I didn't use any. Yeah,
there's some. I
didn't use anything. I literally just used the cloth and like my finger and like my breath. And I cleaned off that scuff and I was like, oh, wow, it's gone. Resubmitted it, PSA 1010. I bought that card for, this was a couple of years ago. I bought it for like $2,100 and I sold the PSA 10 for like $5,500. Like, and I literally just had to clean the scuff.
Yeah, that is, some of the things that you do now that you've learned over the, time of doing that. This was because you've always told me clean the card. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of thought that was common knowledge, but at the show,
it's not
common knowledge.
No. And I even talked to guys that didn't clean cards who had $5 cards in their case. I also talked to guys that didn't clean cards that also had $1,000 cards in their case. So it's like, yeah, like I said, it seems like common knowledge, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not.
And that's what's great about these shows. I'll tell you that. I love going in, as you mentioned, we interact with so many people, and so many people talk about things I will say most people talk to us start by saying all the stuff they love. Yeah. What they love about the hobby, what they love about their card. We always ask, I know you do a great job asking, hey, tell me the story behind the card. Did you rip it or did you, how did you acquire it? And people love sharing that story, right?
Even if I'm not buying the card, like I just think it's cool. I'm just like, okay, how'd you get this? Like,
how'd you get this? Right. And we learn about that. One of the things you did, I think from between our last podcast and now was you did ask the audience a little bit about, what would you like to hear about?
Oh, yeah, like Q&A.
Q&A. Q&A. Talk about what did you find out? I'm curious to see. Pull it up. Let's take a look and see if we can answer some of those questions because it was only a couple weeks ago.
Let's see. So we had a lot of people ask questions. Let me pull it up.
And this was via the Jersey Wild page, right?
Jersey Wild Instagram, yeah. So, let's see.
What are some questions? Let's answer those.
So opinions on different grading companies. We talked about that a little bit.
Briefly about that.
Talk about personal collection. We could probably talk about that next. I'll bring some cards.
Yeah, bring some. That's more fun.
Here's a good question. This is from Kyle Collects Cards on Instagram. He says, what grade would you rather have? A Beckett 9.5 or an SGC 10?
Oh, we didn't even talk about SGC.
That's a really good question.
That's a great question. You're the expert. You tell me.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it depends on the card. It depends if it's vintage. It depends if it's, it just depends on the card. We'll go there. Overall, without diving too deep into it, I would rather have a Beckett 9.5. When I buy SGC 10s, and I think I talked about this on the last pod, I value it as raw. I value the card as raw.
A 10.
An SGC 10.
SGC 10.
I think SGC grading is so average is the word I'll use.
What makes them average?
I mean, I've seen people buy PSA 7s and PSA 8s and cross them to SGC 10s. Like I've seen.
So you think they're a little looser in their grade?
I think they're a lot
Is that
looser.
What you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think they grade as hard as PSA. I definitely know they don't grade as hard as Beckett. So I'm just personally, for me.
Your experience.
I'm not an SGC guy. So to answer Kyle's question, would you rather have a Beckett 9.5 or an SGC 10? Beckett 9.5. I'll even go one further. I'd rather have a Beckett 9 than an SGC 10. That's how against SGC I am.
You mentioned vintage. Should vintage go
SGC?
So vintage should go to SGC.
Yeah, they do a really good job with vintage, in my opinion. And that's kind of where they thrive from what I've seen. And I see a lot of nowadays, especially at shows, I see a lot of SGC vintage cards in SGC slabs.
So I think that speaks to what you were talking about, the idea of depends on the card, right? If it's a vintage card and it's a SGC 10.
Well, I mean, I'd rather have an SGC 10 than a Beckett 9.5 in a vintage card.
In vintage.
Yeah.
So that goes back to your example of that. Okay, good. So hopefully Kyle, we answered that for you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What else?
Another good question is best time to buy up baseball prospects. That comes from Twin Sons Cards. Best time to buy up baseball prospects. Number one answer, football season, because nobody's thinking about baseball at that time, especially prospects. So I would say during football season's a really good time, and I would say the month prior to pitchers and catchers reporting. So
Which
I think
was just recently.
now. Yeah, today's what, February 19th? So I would say, like February, I would say actually like
mid-January.
January 15th to like beginning of February.
So like when playoff football and Super Bowl is occurring.
For sure, because all those eBay auctions are running for Jalen Hurts and Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are just not thinking about baseball. So I would say, the best time is kind of in that mid-January, football playoffs.
Okay. And I know we're going to talk about who you want to buy separate, but let's get to a few more questions.
Yeah, I'll do a couple more. Let's go with, this comes from Cookin' Cards on Instagram. How to not get scammed on Instagram. Just had our first experience building relationships as well. How to not get scammed on Instagram. So I'll just kind of ask that in a different form. How to not get scammed online. Buying cards.
That's right.
I buy cards and I sell cards one way and one way only. I don't use Venmo. I don't use Zelle. I don't use Cash App. I don't use Apple Pay.
Sure.
PayPal. The only way you are protected as a buyer and a seller is PayPal goods and services. Literally the only way.
That's the only way.
So it was a big Junior Caminero lot on Facebook from a guy who looked reputable.
Okay.
Paid like $3,400, and within a couple of days his profile was gone. He blocked me. Blah blah blah. I knew I was screwed.
Yeah.
But I paid PayPal goods and services, and with a couple weeks I got my money back. If I paid friends and family PayPal, done. $3,400 down the drain.
So it's the goods and services specifically.
You have to.
It's
a 2.9% fee.
Pay it.
Please pay it.
It's nothing. Bake it into the cost, right? I mean it's not worth doing major transactions.
Last question I'll do. It's from Mateus on Instagram. He says, talk about the industries of shops, like working at the one you did.
Oh, okay.
So shops are great. Shops are what, you went to as a kid. My dad went to as a kid. I wasn't into cards as a kid, so I didn't. But shops are great for the hobby, Depending on the shop, it's a good place to go and hang out. It's a good place to learn about the hobby. And I worked at one for 4 years, and I don't think without working there, I would have known what I know today. And that's just from the working side of it. So I think shops are great for the hobby. I don't have actually a negative thing to say about shops whatsoever, unless you do.
No, I don't have anything negative to say about shops. We've seen a lot of just like everything else, different varieties of shops and different qualities of shops. If I was a shop owner, I would want to have some pride in what I am showing and sharing, and I'd want to create an environment. I love these shops that do trade nights.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's really cool, but not all of them do.
No,
it's really cool and because what's that trying to do is just simply facilitate people interacting.
Yeah.
Right. There's no money, and these card shops do an amazing job of providing food and location and ambiance and the vibe and all of that stuff. Fantastic. I'd love to see shops in general do more of that kind of stuff, to invite the community in and grow the community. Because as you know, we touched upon this. Print runs of cards are increasing. Yeah. Well, that's just the nature of the business. Like, guys, instead of complaining about it, the only real way to fix it is to get more people to collect.
For sure. Well, okay. So it's a good question.
Yeah.
So I have a question on that question.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This comes from one of our favorite people in the entire hobby.
Who's that?
Andy.
Ah, yeah.
So this is one of our favorite people in the hobby. Card Flipper 08. Andy, I told you to be on the podcast, and here you are.
There you go.
Andy says, are kids in the hobby a good thing or a bad thing?
First of all, Andy is an anomaly.
Andy is an anomaly. If you guys don't know who Andy is, Andy is a 12-year-old savage. He's a shark.
He's a shark. Great kid.
Great kid. Great parents. And he has one of the craziest collections for a 12-year-old. Yeah. And it's his. Parents haven't helped. Like, he is just grinding.
His dad doesn't do cards.
No, mom doesn't, obviously. It's just Andy.
It's just Andy learned it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think kids can look at someone like Andy in two ways. Aspirational, meaning, hey, I want to do what he does, or be scared by him. I think kids can be scared. You know, when you look at kids and they look at their collection, you need to be proud of your collection, whatever that collection is. And if you're not proud of that collection, then figure out how to grow your collection.
For sure.
Right. And if you have a passion for it, it's easy. Andy is great people to say it can be done.
Yeah.
He's an example of it can be done.
And he's not doing anything that's a secret or crazy. Like he
loves the hobby.
He knows how to negotiate.
Right.
He knows how to be respectful. He knows the hobby and he knows the industry.
And it took him time to learn it.
Yeah.
You know, he's 12 years old.
Yeah.
But he quick learner. Kids, if you have a passion for it, anything's possible.
Go give Andy a follow. His Instagram is card_flipper_08. So Andy, you owe me $5 for that shout out.
And you can run into Andy at almost every show.
Literally every show.
He's everywhere here in Southern California area. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
I can't wait till he's 16 and he can fly by himself. He will literally then be everywhere else as well.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. I think we did a good amount of questions.
Yeah,
and we'll do more questions for sure.
We'll make it a normal thing.
We have baseball season
right around the corner.
Thank God. I needed it for my mental health.
Yes.
To be honest with you, and I'm tired of watching the news, so I need some baseball.
Good.
Baseball season's coming up. A lot of different trades and signings, blah blah blah. But there's a couple people I think that we should have our eye on. And a lot of people ask me, and there was a bunch of questions in that same thread that said, Josh, who are you buying before the season? Who are you buying preseason? Who are you buying for the season? Blah, blah, blah. So baseball wise, who are you buying? Give me like two names that you think are really good buys today that, you know, are good to sell during the season because you think they're going to kind of go off. We'll say that.
Yeah, I think, you know, the names that we're all used to, and we're seeing are pretty commonplace. One of my favorites, and still continues to be his favorite, is until he's knocked off, is Julio Rodriguez. I feel like he and Bobby Witt, because Bobby Witt's very popular. He's getting a lot of attention and notoriety and justified, 100% justified. The kid is amazing. What he's done in the period of time, I think, is super underappreciated. But the card market does appreciate it. J-Rod, I felt like had that trajectory, but he never could dig himself out of that start that he had last year. So hopefully he learns from that, comes out of that. As far as rookies, you know, Jason Domínguez has a high hopes. I'm not 100% convinced.
Really?
He's a Yankee. That's going to help.
Of course.
He's surrounded by people who know how to handle this. I think a lot of this is the ability to handle the spotlight and what to do with that. So I think he's going to have a interesting year.
Okay.
I think he'll either go off or he will fail to meet expectations of people.
And ride the bench.
Right.
Okay.
What do you think?
So my first one was Jason Domínguez.
Oh, interesting.
I've been watching him a lot this spring.
And you do watch a lot more than I do, to be fair.
Yeah.
So you're a little more in tune with kind of what's going on.
But he's a guy that he has the tools. He has the body frame. Like he's massive. Yeah. And he's doing really well in spring right now. And I know it's spring, so you can't really, whatever. Yeah. But he's one of the guys that I'm buying for cheap. Like his base Topps Chrome Sapphire autos, numbered like 199.
Yeah.
A couple $100, $200 or $300.
Wow.
Which is criminally low, in my opinion, for J-Dom. Like you remember his Superfractor PSA 10 auto selling for $500,000 or whatever that was.
So ridiculous.
So Jason Domínguez is one guy that I'm definitely buying right now.
Okay.
Another guy that I think a lot of people have given up on, Volpe. A lot of people have given up on Volpe.
Yeah, we did not see a high demand for Volpe over the weekend.
Not just the weekend, but you look at his card prices. Like his True Blue First Bowman auto PSA 10 used to be a $3,500 card.
Now?
Around $1,000, if that.
Really?
He is criminally low. So I think Jason's a great buy. I think Volpe's a great buy. One guy I think we've missed the boat on a little bit is Roman Anthony, which we talked about last time.
Yeah.
But one comparable player comparable hobby player.
Yeah, hobby, yep.
Walker Jenkins. He was very hyped last year.
Yeah, when he came out.
And a lot of guys were buying, and his prices were crazy. He started to drop it just a little bit where I think it's in that price range where it's safe enough to buy, because worst case, it's still going to stay in that price range. I don't think it's going to drop, but I do think it has a lot of room to grow.
Okay. What about we picked up a beautiful one, and I'm sure you guys have seen it already. Otherwise, Josh will share it. Marcelo Mayer.
Ooh,
local boy.
Marcelo, I'll put a picture right here. Right there.
Right there. Beautiful card.
It's a great card.
Beautiful card. Hype when he first came out.
Unreal.
Right? Out of East Lake, right?
Yeah.
Right here in East Lake in San Diego.
That up, yeah.
Died down.
Yeah.
And now what?
So
with Roman Anthony getting a call up.
Yep. So you have 3 guys in the Red Sox organization, the minor leagues, who are getting a lot of attention right now.
Okay.
Obviously, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, and Christian Campbell. Okay.
Yep.
With the hype around Roman Anthony, a lot of the eyes have gone from Marcelo to Roman.
Right.
I think Marcelo Mayer, and I've seen him play. Right. I held a private autograph signing with him years ago. Like he's a big dude.
Really?
Like he's physically tall. He looks like he fits the part.
Gotcha.
I think he is a great buy.
Really?
Great buy. So I picked up that orange Bowman auto, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I paid strong.
Yeah, you did.
But no joke, I think that card doubles in the next 2 months. I mean, obviously, if he gets called up.
I was going to say, does he make the team?
No, he doesn't make the team. No.
Will he be at spring training?
Yes.
So he'll play at spring training.
Yep.
What about another popular name in the hobby? And we saw a really cool superfractor of him, Ethan Salas.
Ooh. So I'm going to tie in Leo DeVries with Ethan Salas, because not only are they really good friends, but I think they run together pretty similarly in the hobby.
Okay.
Ethan Salas. So I'll go back to cards on this one. His orange first Bowman auto, closer to release day of his Bowman, was around $8,000, $9,000. Crazy. 17-year-old catcher.
17-year-old catcher.
I'm not even talking about the age mostly. It's a catcher, which is crazy.
Don't create a demand.
I just bought that card for $1,600.
Wow.
Like
when you say just
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So raw, of course, not great.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
I think Ethan Salas is not a buy. I don't think he's a sell. If you have Ethan Salas, I think he's a great hold.
Okay. Let's talk.
But I don't think he's a buy. I do think Leo DeVries is a buy, and he's a hold. He's a buy and hold. He's not a buy, wait a little bit and flip. He's a buy and hold because he's so young. We're not going to see him in the league for another couple years. 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe. Same with Salas. I think Salas is going to be up. I mean, there is a shot he makes the roster this year because he's a catcher and Padres don't really have one of those.
Yeah. But
I do think he's a kind of feel it out to see how spring training goes, and then maybe make that decision to buy. That's kind of where I would be at.
Is there anyone else you're holding? I know the question is, who are we buying?
Yeah, who are we holding?
Yeah, is there anyone holding that you said, hey, if you've invested in this person, don't give up on them?
It's a really good question.
Right?
Julio.
Yeah,
it's one of your guys.
Don't sell.
No, I wouldn't sell Julio at all.
Yeah.
Who else am I holding? That's a good question. I'm holding Colton Cowser.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a name we don't.
Yeah, I'm not buying more of him.
Okay.
But I am holding him.
What you do have?
He's on a solid young team.
Yep.
And I think he had a little bit of shine, little spurts of fame last year.
Yeah, a little success.
Yeah, but he's not somebody I'm going actively buying. I have some of his bigger stuff, but he's a hold for me for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the Orioles.
Okay.
Amazing young team again.
Yeah.
A lot of young Adley, Gunnar, Jackson, right? And now you throw in Colton. Is there anyone there on that team that you're maybe more excited about and buying than
Gunnar Henderson?
Gunnar.
No question.
No question.
I walked the show this last weekend just looking for Gunnar.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You know I'm a big Bobby Witt fan. I saw some cool Bobbies. I'm like, nope, looking for Gunnar.
Yeah.
Gunnar, he's on a great team. He's on a young team.
Up and coming team.
Yeah, and a lot of eyes on the Orioles in general. Gunnar just got named, I think, top 5 player in the whole entire league this last season.
Really? That high?
Mm-hmm. And I think he's a great buy. Like you saw what his cards did last year. His first Bowman orange auto PSA 10 went from a $5,000 card to a $13,000 card in a matter of 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever that was.
So you think there's more upward movement for him?
Well, because it's dropped down. That card's dropped down, I think, around like 8, 9 right now.
Okay.
But I think he's a fantastic buy. Yeah, his stuff is still expensive, but I think it has a lot of room to grow. One guy, and I'm gonna talk about him. I think every single pod I'll talk about him.
Yes.
One guy who is criminally cheap, Jackson Chourio. Criminally cheap.
You think he's cheap, huh? There's some big cards.
So let's talk about this.
Some
I just
big
saw this on
number, yeah.
Facebook a couple days ago. Jackson Chourio, Topps Chrome Sapphire Auto to 199, just sold for, I think it was like 480, 460, call it 475. Jackson Holiday, Topps Chrome Sapphire Auto to 199, same card.
Same card.
Just sold for 280. Okay, so you're going to say, oh, well, you just said he's criminally low. Obviously, Holiday's low. I think that card that just sold for 480 of Chourio is going to be an $800 card by season.
By season.
By season.
That's 5 weeks from now.
Yeah. I'm still buying Chourio. I'm buying off-centered Chourio at this point. I'm buying all of it.
As much as you can get.
All of it.
So Chourio big.
And I'm not paying 80%, 90%. I'll pay 100 to 105%.
So they just signed a prospect. I don't know if you're going to know this because I just found out about it literally this morning.
Who's they?
Brewers? The Brewers.
Okay.
Okay. And the scout's opinion was better than Chourio.
Is it Jesus Made?
That's the one.
Wow. And you thought I wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, I thought you might not.
I feel disrespected.
I don't know about that, but I thought I could stump you, right? I got to try.
So to answer your question, I know nothing about Jesus Made. I know the name. That's about it.
Yeah.
Better than Chourio, hot take for sure.
Right. He doesn't have a card.
He has like Panini Stars, whatever it is. No, it's like the XR version.
Yeah. But nothing like licensed.
So what's your question?
So my question is, I guess, A, did you know him? So you answered that. Mm-hmm. But B, if you did know him, we think very highly of Chourio. Mm-hmm. If someone says there's someone better than Chourio, and they're a scout, so they do this for a living. They're not just it's not just
some writer.
Writer, right? Some writer that said it. That's right. I would say, is that someone to kind of keep an eye on?
Okay, so great question.
Like the Bowman should
keep an eye on, yes.
Okay.
When his first Bowman auto comes out,
that's right.
Do not touch that card. Do not buy it. Do not buy his auto. Think about Ethan Salas. His orange auto was a $10,000 card when the product came out, and now it's a $1,200 or $1,500 card, right?
So don't
wait. Don't ride the hype. Don't get FOMO. Just wait.
Just wait.
The guy's going to be in the minors for years.
Yeah, that's right.
Just wait.
Well, this whole topic of who are we buying and focusing on baseball, right? Primarily. Prospecting in general, high risk, high reward.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, that's what it is. We picked up a pretty cool Freddie Freeman 1 of 1. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Dynasty.
The Dynasty one, right? That was a pretty cool card. And this guy's done it all. Like he's done everything. I'm going to kind of come a little bit off topic, but I'll try to tie it together at the end. Vladdy recently rejected the signing offer with Toronto, which means he's going to be a free agent next year. Mm-hmm. Vladdy cards, we don't talk about. The man's a hitting machine. But the market or the hobby, I would say, is kind of like on hold or plateaued, right? There isn't this like, oh God, we got to go buy Vladdy. Does Vladdy feel he has to show out this year because now he's in a free agent walk year and he wants to get the big contract? And then if so, does that impact his cards? Because if he throws up 50 bombs, 130 RBIs in the MVP discussion, is there a demand and does that become a buy? And if so, and then where does he sign?
Good question.
2-part question.
Yeah. So where does he sign? Couldn't tell you. Don't even have a real guess for you, to be honest. I'll just say out of nowhere. So hopefully I'm right. The Mets. Just totally random.
Yeah.
Just my guess. Vladdy's a buy for sure. His market is stupid cheap. Cheap. And he's a great player.
Proven.
Right. Very proven.
He's done it.
Yeah, he didn't have the best year last year, but not a bad year.
No, he didn't have a bad year for sure. Still
I think he's a buy, but I wouldn't go spend a couple $1,000s on him. I'd spend a couple $100 on him maybe.
Do you own any?
I don't.
No.
I have like in the past, but he's not a
just
guy
not
that
right now.
I've gone for.
I think he's going to be the free agent to chase next year. I think he's going to have a monster year
This year? Okay.
because he's going to chase that bag.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't think it's the Mets because of Pete Alonso.
Yeah, it's just my
Okay.
guess.
I don't want to put this out there, but because we have Freddie, but he looked
Dodgers?
great in Dodger blue.
You think everybody looks good in Dodger blue?
Well,
Like, seriously.
I just
Mike Trout looked good in Dodger blue.
Freddie's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
I think if he wins one more,
He'll call it.
I don't know if he'll call it, but he'll definitely consider it.
Yeah.
His health, we know how important his family and his life is in general. To go out on top, going back to back,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Don't disagree.
he's what, 35?
Oh, I have no idea. You're the Dodger guy, bro.
Yeah. So he's got more time in him.
Yeah.
Right. He's got more time in. There's no if, and, or buts about it. But does he want to put more time in? And if he doesn't, Vladdy would look good.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Right.
Um,
So I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
You go from Toronto. I could see him in Seattle, honestly.
Yeah.
I could
that'd
see
be a
him
good
in a
spot for
Seattle
him.
Marco spot, right?
Yeah. That'd be
With
a really
him
good
and
market for him.
J-Rod. That's where I honestly can see him, but as a Dodger guy, I'm thinking.
No, I think Seattle's a great spot for him,
Right.
actually, that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back on like who we're buying.
Yep.
My three guys that I'm buying right now, Jason Domínguez, Jackson Chourio, and Walker Jenkins. Two guys that are going to be in the league this year for sure, Jason and Chourio, and then Jenkins, who has a chance, right? Minnesota, they might need him. Who knows?
Yeah, depending on how they're performing.
But like I said, people ask me all the time, who are you buying?
There you go.
And I don't like to tell a whole lot of people because obviously they take cards away from me. Maybe, right?
They go start buying your cards.
But one guy that I think a lot of people are too afraid that his market is too high is Junior Caminero. He just played
high.
Well, he just played in that Mexican league, right?
Yeah.
And he went
off. I did see the stats.
Because of that, his market obviously rose. And I think a lot of people are staying away from him because of that. Like I just picked up a super fractor rookie auto of him yesterday for, in my opinion, dirt cheap. I'll put a picture here.
Oh yeah, you got to show that one.
Picture's sick.
I know. Yeah. Because it's on your IG page.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got to put it here.
But I think Junior. I think Junior's a great buy. He's in an amazing organization, in my opinion. I love the Rays. They're always on that playoff run, right? They're close to it at least. And he's just electric. He reminds me of Wander, but obviously without, the other stuff.
He shall choose now.
Yes.
Named.
Yes.
Yes.
So to answer your question, who am I buying? I'm buying Jason Domínguez, Jackson Chourio, Junior Caminero, and Walker Jenkins. Those are the four guys.
There you go.
Done.
And for me, it's because of I trust your judgment, right? I'm not actively, I'm not as close to that market as you are, right? You're in it daily. So I know you're speaking from experience. Mine is just more of as a fan.
Yeah.
As a fan, I'd love to see J-Rod come back. I'd love to see Corbin Carroll level out some of his batting average, right? If he could solve that, that would go a long way. I love seeing small market teams have a star because it's already so hard for them, right? To compete with the Dodgers and the Yankees and those teams. So Junior, I'd love to see that because Tampa Bay, do they even have a stadium this year? Where are they playing?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because the Storm, took out their stadium. I have no idea where they're playing.
Here's another guy that you just made me think of too.
Yeah, you're going to say Chandler Simpson?
No.
Oh.
Royce Lewis.
Okay.
I mean, first overall pick, right?
Stud when he plays.
Yeah, literal
stud when he plays.
He's been injured a lot.
Yeah.
Right? He was injury prone in high school and now the big leagues. So he's a guy that I would love to start picking up right now.
So it's funny. I do fantasy baseball. I do all fantasy sports, but fantasy baseball. He's the third baseman I pick up like off waivers.
Yeah,
Royce,
I would.
If he plays, he's going to rake.
He's a difference in the Twins organization.
Yeah, he's a difference maker.
Yeah, him and my other sleepers, Jose Miranda, who we can talk about later.
Yeah.
I think that's good for the day.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Guys, appreciate you guys tuning in to the game plan. Hope we answered some of your guys' questions. If you guys ever have questions, feel free to message me on Instagram or Twitter, JerseyWild_. Pratik and I appreciate you guys watching and giving us the support, and we hope to see you guys at the next show, wherever we're at. We hope you guys are there too. Peace.
Peace.
Jersey Wild, stacking up that cheddar, chasing rare finds, ain't nothing better. From the rookies to the legends, mid-condition prime, step into our world where the cardboard shines.